Serving all of Michiana from South Bend, we are WSBT TV. Rebecca Marr. Rod Johnson. Weather with Pam Land. Michiana's only midday local news. On the station where news comes first, WSBT TV.
Good afternoon, everyone. A South Bend man has been arrested in connection with the Chapin Street murder a couple of weeks ago. And the St. Joseph County Democratic Central Committee is trying to unify the party for the fall election. Rod Johnson, who's our guest for today?
Well, we have Dee Mattis with us today of the Children's Dispensaries Board, and she's going to tell us about the very special Art Fest that's going on right now.
Oh, Pam Land.
Well, a very active weather day yesterday. Today will be a little bit more quiet.
Oh, that sounds good. Okay, in the news today. A little over 2 hours ago, police arrested 23-year-old Bruce Granderson of South Bend for the shooting death of 26-year-old Robert Irons. Granderson had been identified as a suspect in the case shortly after the shooting 2 weeks ago. Irons was shot following an argument in the 200 block of South Chapin Street. Police said at the time, Irons had been shooting dice with several others when they were approached by two men and an argument began. Irons died shortly after he was shot in the back. The St. Joseph County Democratic Central Committee held a news conference this morning aimed at pulling factions within the party together for a unified fall campaign. A number of elected officials and Democratic candidates for the November election were on hand to show support for the entire Democratic ticket. County Chairman Kenneth Fetter said the primary is over and it's time for Democrats to come together.
This year in the fall election on both the national, state, as well as our county levels. We must and we will be united, and we will be energetic in order to be successful. This is the direction that the Democratic Party will follow this fall, and I submit to you, members of the press, that all the people here gathered today show that is the fact.
Much of the party infighting centered around County Commissioner Richard Jasinski, who won a tough primary battle against David Niedzgotsky. Although Niedzgotsky was not present, Jasinski says his opponent has pledged full support during the fall campaign. The city of South Bend has moved one step closer to buying out the lease purchase agreement on Coveleski Stadium. Last night, the Common Council suspended rules and voted to allow the Redevelopment Authority to issue bonds to pay off the remainder of the 10-year lease. The city has a May 20th hearing before the State Board of Tax Commissioners. That's 3 days before the council was originally scheduled to vote on the bonds. Earlier approval by the state can only help South Bend.
Well, it puts us in a position where we can have more control over when we issue the bonds. If interest rates go up or there are certain unforeseen circumstances that occur, we will be in a better position so that the bonds can be issued and we can take advantage of lower interest rates.
The city is still waiting to hear from Congress on possible restoration of tax-exempt status for the stadium. Even without it, Nussbaum says the city should save at least $30,000 a year. In addition, Nussbaum says stadium revenues are well ahead of expectations and should exceed the $50,000 the city is guaranteed this year. Fire investigators in Indianapolis have ruled out any connection between a tire warehouse fire last week in Indianapolis and a similar fire at a Mishawaka tire warehouse in February. Arson has been ruled out in the Indianapolis fire at Tire Distributors Incorporated. Fire officials say they're trying to determine whether the three-alarm blaze started on the roof or in the ceiling. Federal officials had indicated they would investigate that fire along with February's blaze at the Scheid Tire Company on Mishawaka's north side. Both warehouses are owned by the same company. No cause for the Mishawaka fire has been determined. The National Transportation Safety Board is meeting in Washington today to consider its staff investigation of the crash of Northwest Flight 255, the nation's second deadliest air disaster. The crash last August claimed the lives of 156 people. The NTSB staff told the board the plane's flaps and slats weren't properly extended for takeoff, and the pilot and the co-pilot failed to go through a pre-takeoff checklist. Low water pressure to blame for the closing of John Glenn schools should be fixed later today. Both John Glenn and North Liberty schools were closed today after crews were unable to restore water pressure yesterday. A pump on a water tank apparently blew out and crews were unable to fix the problem in time for classes today. School is expected to be in session tomorrow. Nearly 100 representatives of various Indiana cities are in South Bend today for the 6th Annual Mayor's Conference on Historic Preservation. Today's discussion centered around old factory and industrial buildings and how they can be utilized after being closed. In South Bend, that type of building includes the old Studebaker buildings. Studies are now underway to determine which buildings are still structurally sound and which of them should be torn down. Some cities plan to use such buildings in their communities for condominiums or shopping areas. Pam has the weather for us now, and when I woke up this morning, it seemed like a fairly decent day,
It did.
but it kind of changed.
Driving to work saw the stars and the moon. It was quite pleasant. Temperatures a little on the breezy side and a little cool, but other than that, it was quite nice. Started to cloud up a little bit, and it's looking rather gloomy.
Yes, it is.
And I also wouldn't put away those umbrellas just yet.
Okay.
I'll be back to look at more on today's weather and take a look at the 5-day outlook when we return.
Make a fast dash to win some quick cash, $100,000 cash. All you need are quick ears, fast feet, and Sunny 101.5. Win $101 plus a chance to dash for $100,000 cash. For complete details, run and turn on Sunny 101.5 FM, where you hear your favorite music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Dash for cash from Sunny 101.5 FM.
Sir, would you choose hamburger A, a fresh Wendy's hamburger, or hamburger B that's made ahead of time so it gets dry?
Let me just say, given the state of my current political agenda and/or broad-based concern for my constituents, expressed with the full support of my lovely wife, Marie, Adele, it is with utmost confidence that I choose hamburger B.
But most Americans prefer the fresh Wendy's hamburger.
Exactly, which is why I stand unequivocally behind hamburger A. B.
Most Americans prefer the taste of fresh hamburgers, like Wendy's, the best burgers in the business.
Howdy, folks. This is Old Country Sam at Village Chevrolet here in Niles. I was wondering, how am I going to get people from miles around to buy cars and trucks in Niles? I figured it out. Big selection, and I'll sell them cheaper. Like this new Cavalier or F10 pickup, $88 down, $144 per month. If you don't have the $88, I'll give it to you. How's Village Chevrolet stand up? Pretty good, you'll say.
Can you keep a secret? Good, because Quality Farm and Fleet's anniversary sale is a surprise party. Imagine how surprised the boss will be when he sees these low prices.
Like Balin's 16-foot livestock panels are just $13.99 to $15.99. Get Rayovac 2-pack lantern batteries just $3.99 after rebate. And Kendall oil is only 49 cents after rebate.
Collins, how did all these anniversary prices get so low?
Surprise.
Oh, boy.
Quality Farm and Fleet. You work too hard to pay too much.
Well, today's weather not quite as active as yesterday's. The temperatures really hasn't changed too much since earlier this morning, except for down in Indianapolis, quite nice, sunny, and 69 degrees. Elkhart, 55, Grand Rapids, 54, Chicago, 57, and Milwaukee on the cloudy side, 56 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite picture shows clouds pushing across the Great Lakes region into northern Indiana, and this is due to a weak area of low-pressure system that's sitting on top of Michigan. Skies will continue to be cloudy today, except for the southern half of the state looking great. They're going to be sunny all day long. Currently, we're checking in 55 degrees, winds out of the northwest at 8 miles per hour, relative humidity 83%, and the barometer is on the rise, 29.82. Well, the western half of the nation looks great this afternoon, and that is due to high pressure dominating, bringing gorgeous sunny skies. The storm system that was brewing across the Great Lakes region the last couple of days is now centered across northern Michigan, and this frontal system is bringing some active weather all the way from the mid-Atlantic region down along the Carolinas into the lower Mississippi Valley. One tornado did touch down in Birmingham, Alabama early this morning about 6:20, but no reports of any injuries or damage at this point. For our area, well, we're going to see some cloudy skies, a few sprinkles on and off throughout the day. Temperatures on the cool side, and that's due to this frontal system that passed through overnight. Temperatures into the 60s, and that'll be the cool spot across the nation. Basically 70s and 80s, quite nice across the rest of the nation. Plenty of sunshine and warm temperatures down across southern Texas and the desert southwest with 90-degree readings. Now, by tomorrow, all this rain will be moving off the east coast along with this frontal system. Some showers still lingering across Texas. Our area will be partly sunny tomorrow, and that'll be dominated by the high-pressure system. A few clouds will approach us by the afternoon hours as the frontal system nears our region, but we won't be seeing any rain until Thursday or Friday as this frontal system across the Pacific Northwest tracks our way. The forecast for today does call for cloudy conditions, breezy conditions as well. A few sprinkles in the area, highs around 62. Winds will be out of the northwest at about 15 to 25 miles per hour. For this evening, clearing and cool, a low of 42 degrees. And by tomorrow, back to sunny skies, highs around 65. Let's take a look now at the 5-day outlook. Thursday and Friday calls for partly cloudy skies with a few showers. In northern Indiana, mostly clear in the south, highs around 70. Sunny and warmer on Saturday with highs in the 80s. Sunday and Monday, partly sunny, highs in the upper 70s. And our WSBT umbrella winner is Tammy Miller of Chesterton, Indiana. Congratulations to her. And that's the weather at this hour. Rod Johnson has all the sports coming up next.
Kohlrabi is a strange-looking vegetable to many people, and we'll tell you more about it later on.
Hi, I'm Craig Atkins for Stanley Marine. If you're like me, you'll love fishing out of a new bass tracker.
Power from Mercury Outboards and prices starting at just $39.95 have made Bass Tracker the #1 selling boat in the world. Stop by and see the exciting line of Bass Trackers at Stanley Marine, your Mercury Outboard dealer on Coons Lake in Walkerton.
And find out why over 100,000 fishermen fish the finest.
Visit Stanley Marine, 4 miles south of Walkerton on Coons Lake.
For interior painting, use Glidden Spread Satin, only $8.99 a gallon. For outside, Spread House Paint is only $10.99 a gallon. During the Anderson Truckload Sale, you can save 35% on the energy-efficient, durable windows that America comes home to. Stop in for more details.
Almost anything, Big R's got it. Big R stores at your Big R stores.
Ladies, start your engine, because Kroger's cost-cutter prices are shifting into high gear. For more savings and better value.
Kroger barbecue sauce, original hickory or with onion, 18 ounces, 89 cents. Refreshing Kroger instant tea in the 3-ounce jar, only $1.99. And Oscar Mayer all-meat wieners, 1-pound package, now $1.79.
Win with Kroger's cost-cutter prices. Feel the difference. Go Krogering.
So many things we plan for in our lives, the house, the kids' education. It just seemed right to prearrange our funerals, too. At our Trust 100 funeral home, decision-making was easier, and we saved money, too. It's the best gift we've ever given to our family.
It just makes sense to plan ahead. Call your Trust 100 family-owned funeral home today to ask about prepayment and no-payment options.
And in sports, Rick Mears has the fastest practice lap for the season so far at the Indianapolis Speedway. Mears was driving his team's backup car yesterday when clocked at 213.118 miles per hour. Mears is teamed with Al Unser Sr. and Danny Sullivan with the Penske Racing Team. And Mario Andretti had the second fastest time of the day with a lap at 212.665. South Bend White Sox are even in their series against the Rockford Expos. The Sox lost to the Expos last night at Coveleski Stadium by a score of 9-4. And in the major leagues, the Chicago White Sox shut out Baltimore 3-0, and Boston held Kansas City scoreless. The Brewers defeated Minnesota 9-6, and the Angels got by the Indians by 1. And Detroit was kept to just 1 run by Oakland, losing the game 3-1. In the National League, the Phillies were shut out by the Reds. Atlanta was a 9-8 winner over Montreal. Houston down the Mets 6-2, and the Cardinals beat the Padres 7-1. And in the final game, the Giants beat Pittsburgh 8-6. And that's it in sports. And looking to the market report, grain and soybean future prices opened mostly higher today at the Chicago Board of Trade. In early trading, wheat was 2 cents to 3 cents higher, with the contract for delivery in May at $3.04 a bushel. Corn was 1/4 cent to 1/2 cent higher, with May at $2.03. Oats were 1/2 to 1 3/4 cent higher, with May at $1.60 1/2. And soybeans were 1 cent lower to 2 cents higher, with May at $7.02 a bushel. And springtime means lots of rain, hopefully that is, and the amount of moisture there in the soil changes the rate of compaction. John Trott says that soil moisture and compaction rise and fall together.
Good afternoon, everyone. At this time of year, many questions are asked about the relationship between soil moisture and compaction. Studies have shown an increase in soil compaction with increasing soil moisture content. The maximum compaction that can be produced occurs when the soil moisture content is near field capacity. Field capacity is the moisture content held by the soil after excess water has drained through the tile system or into the soil profile. Unfortunately, at field capacity, the soil begins to have sufficient bearing capacity to allow operations with modern equipment. A trip across the field under these moisture conditions can cause soil compaction, which can lead to a variety of crop problems. Some soil compaction is unavoidable and must be considered as part of the cost of doing business. Some could be avoided, and this should be the goal. The first step is to analyze the trips across the field and the cost-benefit derived from each of them. And second, before making a pass across the field, evaluate the soil moisture content not just at the surface, but also at the depth of tillage. If the soil is still easily molded by hand, consider delaying the operation. This, of course, is a judgment call. Earlier in the season, it might be appropriate to wait, and later on, it might be necessary to go ahead. In any event, as crop problems develop, soil conditions could be one factor which is examined. This would be especially true if the soil was wet during the tillage operations.
The jogging craze of a few years ago left a lot of us on the sidelines for one reason or another, but you can stay fit by doing what comes naturally. That's walking. Fitness walking is the subject of today's Health Beat report. Millions of Americans have found they can stay fit by walking at least 20 minutes on a regular basis. But orthopedist Dr. Frederick Furlick says we aren't talking about a casual stroll.
What we're looking for is 4 times a week to increase your heart rate up to, let's say, a time and a half what it normally is.
Dr. Furlick promotes walking for all ages.
What I recommend, for instance, on an elderly patient that hasn't really done much exercise, what I would recommend is 20 minutes of walking, but the way I would divide that is 5 minutes walking, then stop and rest for 5, another 5 minutes of walking, and then rest for 5. That's a total of 20 minutes, so a 10-minute period of walking.
Furlick is one of 50 doctors involved in Memorial Hospital's Walk With Your Doc program this Saturday. The 1 mile walk is part of the nationwide effort co-sponsored by Rockport Walking Institute. You'll find out about a simple test to determine your current condition. Plus, you'll get information on developing a personal 20-week exercise program based on research at the Walking Institute. The only equipment you need is a good pair of shoes, not like this pair. A good shoe has a firm heel cup that controls excessive side-to-side movement, extra cushion for the heel, plus plenty of room in the toes. To walk with your doc this Saturday, come to the courtyard of Memorial Hospital's Pace Pavilion for registration beginning at 9 o'clock. All ages and persons with all capabilities are welcome.
We encourage all people to just come and enjoy themselves and have a good day. Hopefully this will be the spark that starts them off on their walking campaign.
Rebecca Moore, WSBT News.
Joe Carcione's Greengrocer report deals with a versatile vegetable that's more popular in Europe. Here's Joe's report on kohlrabi.
Kohlrabi is popular in several parts of Europe, but it's certainly not very popular in the United States. Now, folks, I know that this looks like a very, very strange vegetable to most of you, and you may look at this bulb and you might say it looks like a green turnip, but I do want to tell you, this bulb does not grow underground. It grows above the ground, and it's part of the stem. And you not only eat these green leaves just like you do spinach, but you also take the bulb and you boil it. Now, when the bulb is fairly young, then you don't have to peel it. You can boil it whole, or you can cut it up into small pieces, boil it and marinate it, or serve it just with butter or maybe perhaps a little bit of olive oil. And believe it or not, folks, this bulbs and the stems and the leaves are very good sources of vitamin A and also good sources of vitamin C. The name kohlrabi in German actually means cabbage turnips. As a matter of fact, in Italian, we call them cavoli rapi, also meaning cabbage turnips. Now, folks, you're not going to see too many of these at your supermarkets, but if you do see them, then it should be nice and fresh looking. They should be, not too large. And don't forget, folks, to use the leaves as well as the bulbs. This is Joe Carcione, your greengrocer, with your tip for the day.
Artists and a number of performing groups are taking part in the very special arts festival going on today at IUSB. And Dee Mattis of the Children's Dispensary, which is sponsoring the event, is our guest on Midday News. Stay tuned.
and #1 sandwich maker up to? Designing a new Subway sub?
I'm planning a Subway sale, so you better get your buns in gear.
Hot bread coming through.
We make them fresh. We make them fresh. Everybody loves Subway subs.
Buy 2 footlongs at Subway and get a free 2-liter bottle of Coke or Diet Coke. Offer good through May 31st.
Pontiac Excitement Days are hot in May. Right now, the family cars with Pontiac Excitement are on sale. Save hundreds on Pontiac 6000, Bonneville, Grand Am. Pontiac Excitement, Pontiac Savings. Only at your Michiana Pontiac dealers. Only for the month of May. If you thought a family car had to be boring, think again. See your local Michiana Pontiac dealer now. There's one near you.
Sometimes you feel wild, traditional, daring. At New Vision, we understand one pair of glasses can't match all your different moods. That's why we offer mixed doubles, 2 pairs of completely different glasses, both for just $79.95. 1 pair for when you're feeling sophisticated or casual. Mixed doubles from New Vision. Glasses, anyone?
Whoa! What's wrong? I just sat on a string. What? Yeah, this couch has less stuffing than I do. I'm calling Rent-A-Center. Hand me that phone.
Right now, only Rent-A-Center offers you the guaranteed lowest price in town on his comfortable incliner group. Just $13.99 a week. That's right, just $13.99 a week, guaranteed.
Now, this is comfortable, right, Lester? Not for me. Well, why not? Because I'm still sitting on your knee. Oh, sorry.
Call Rent-A-Center. It's that easy.
And Dee Mattis joins us now. She's a past president and board member of the Children's Dispensary, who is sponsoring the very special arts festival that's going on right now, I believe, at IUSB.
That's right.
All right, tell us a little bit about that.
We invite all the special education teachers and their handicapped children to join this, and this year we have 55 schools participating and over 800 children. So it's really a very special occasion because these kids are not subject or exposed really to the arts to any extent really at all, and which is unfortunate, and we're trying to carry this program on in the schools by having in-service for the art teachers and so on if they want to continue doing this. The kids are exposed to all sorts of things, drama, music. We're having them greeted this morning with a band, and Wishful Thinking, I think, is the band that we have this year. The theme this year is the Year of the Dragon. This is the 6th year we've done this program. And it goes on for 2 days. This year it's at IUSB. This is the first time we've had it at IUSB.
It's been at Century Center, I
It's
believe.
been at Century Center, but we couldn't afford to stay there. So this year we're trying IUSB. And we had it at St. Patrick's Park last spring. It started out being at Century Center, and that was wonderful. We piggybacked the Carnival of the Arts, and then they had the children's arts, and then the very special arts on Monday, which was great, but we couldn't afford it.
Okay, but of course this is sponsored by the Children's Dispensary, which also has Camp Millhouse.
Yes, that's our biggest project, so to speak, which starts June 19th this year, and it's for all handicapped children that are physically, mentally handicapped from ages 7 on. We are going back to, this year we're having 1 2-week session, which of course the parents absolutely love because that is the one opportunity really that they can get away and have a vacation themselves and so on. So
Are there special needs there at the camp as well?
Are there special needs at the camp? Yes. Now, the big thing that we're working on now, last year, it was very generous of the Rotary Club to build a new cabin for us, which was greatly needed, and we need more new cabins. But once we had a new cabin, then we were able to accommodate more children, and our old kitchen couldn't accommodate feeding that many more children. And it was one of these things that we put off every year. So this year we're getting a new kitchen, which is a very big expense.
And then you'll need a new dining room.
Well,
thing begets
all right,
another.
the dining room is all right at the moment, but it does start a chain reaction of your needs. But that's what we want, and we need a new kitchen, so we're having to
How can the general public help?
well, we are starting a membership drive and a fundraiser. We receive no funds other than public support from the community. We don't receive any other funds. So we depend upon the community and endowments and that sort of thing. So we will be doing this membership drive and fundraiser, which the community will be hearing about in the future.
And if anybody wants any further information, they can just contact the Children's Dispensary.
The Children's Dispensary, yes.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but thank you so much for being with us and sharing
Thank you for
with us.
having me.
And we'll be back with a wrap-up of weather and news after this.
Diet Pepsi.
Hi.
The taste that's generations ahead.
What if your body came with care instructions? You'd know to treat hard water with a Culligan water softener. For skin that's silky, hair that shines. And what Culligan can do for your skin and hair, it can do for everything else you wash and wear. Call Culligan.
Hey, Culligan man.
Why rent when you can buy a fully automatic Culligan water conditioner for only $14.95 a month? No down payment, free normal installation. Call your Culligan man today.
I'm Rod West, tight end for the University of Notre Dame football team. You can have a lot of fun at prom and graduation time and not drink and drive. Make it your goal to celebrate smart by celebrating sober. It's a class act.
Pam is back now, and what do we have to look forward to?
Well, a little rain today. I guess we could use it, though. But tomorrow, back to sunny skies. Temperatures will be into the 60s, though. That's pretty much normal for this time of year. We were just blessed with some warm temperatures the last couple of days.
No, isn't that the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Pam. And coming up tonight on WSBT News, the statewide competency test results are trickling in at school districts across northern Indiana. We'll tell you how our children fared. The Benton Township police officer who was at the center of a racial controversy last week is now looking for a job. And local communities join forces to fight hunger and homelessness in Michiana. Mitch Hank will have live basketball report, and Paul Silvestri will update the weather for us. So tune in at 5. That's 6 o'clock Michigan time. And that's Midday News for now. For Rod Johnson and Pam Land, I'm Rebecca Marr. Have a nice afternoon.